Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking through some player props I like on Prizepicks for the Week 2 NFL slate. We're going to give out some plays I like for the full Sunday slate of games. Got 3 picks that I'm going to share in this video. And as always guys, we're going to break down these plays. We're going to share why I like them. Now, before we do get started, make sure that you guys hit that like button down below. If you enjoy these Prizepicks videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel and if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have a Prizepicks account, make sure that you go sign up, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and play $5. You're going to get $50 worth of free lineups instantly added to your account. So Prizepicks going to give you $50 of free lineups just for signing up using code NOAH and playing $5. And then also, Prizepicks has a free square available. So they've had, I think this is their 3rd free square that they've done so far this NFL season. They had one for Thursday night football for the kickoff game, the Eagles-Cowboys. Then they had one for Sunday night football for Bills-Ravens. And now they've got another free square on Travis Kelce's receiving yards, 0.5. This is a free pick for Sunday's game between the Chiefs and Eagles. So definitely take that. If you're playing on Prizepicks, this is another incentive to sign up right now. You always want to be taking advantage of free squares, max discounts, promotions, your discounted projections. Like just in general, discounts are always going to be favorable for you to play. It's an easy way to make money. It's an easy way to build up your bankroll. So if you guys don't have an account on Prizepicks, that's just another incentive to sign up right now. They have a free square on Travis Kelce's receiving yards. Make sure you take that at 0.5 while it is still available. And then one more thing, I do want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper because we are partnered up with Sleeper as well. You guys can go download the Sleeper app. Use promo code NOAH over there, and you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100. So whatever you put in, Sleeper will match up to $100. If you want to deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100 to play with. So now you got a $200 bankroll to work with, and you can try and build up your bankroll over on Sleeper. But if you guys don't know what Sleeper is, they're just a DFS pick'em app, a player prop app similar to Prizepicks, where you pick more or less on player projections. You build out your lineup. You can do up to an 8-pick lineup on Sleeper, win up to 100x your money. Definitely check them out, guys. And again, when you sign up for Sleeper, be sure to use that promo code NOAH. But yeah, man, let's talk about some Prizepicks plays I do like here for today on Saturday for Sunday on the Week 2 slate. I'm recording this video on Saturday, the day before, but we're going to talk about the props I like for the games on Sunday. 3 plays. Let's go ahead and break them down. So the first prop that I like for Sunday is going to be on Travis Etienne. There's a Travis Etienne prop that I like, and it's going to be more than 54.5 rush yards. So we saw Travis Etienne have a really big game in Week 1, ran for 143 yards, was super, super efficient. He did that on, I believe, 16 carries. Obviously, the matchup last week was really good against the Panthers. The Panthers have historically been a terrible run defense. They've historically been a team you can easily run on. I think this matchup against the Bengals is a fine one for Etienne here. What makes me really like this prop, though, is that we saw the Jaguars really lean into Etienne as their clear-cut RB1 last week, and that was something that we didn't quite see much of last season. Now, they still did use Travis Etienne a decent amount last season, but we saw them involving Tank Bigsby a lot last year. Well, now Tank Bigsby's no longer on the team. He got traded to the Eagles. So this does set up a spot where Travis Etienne should kind of get sort of a bell cow role. The 2 running backs behind Travis Etienne are both rookies, Bashaw Tutin and LaQuint Allen. I think Tutin's going to be kind of the change of pace back whenever Etienne needs a breather, and then LaQuint Allen you'll probably see mostly just playing on pass downs. But as long as this game is like remotely competitive, Etienne's going to be out there getting the carries on early downs. They'll involve Tutin a little bit, they'll involve Allen a little bit, especially on passing situations. But I think we're still going to see Etienne get like 12 to 14 carries. His rush attempts line for Sunday is set at 13.5. So the sports books are expecting him to get about 13 to 14 carries here. We only need him to average like 4 yards per carry. Let's say he gets 14 carries. If he averages 4 yards per carry, that would give him 56 yards. And 4 yards per carry feels pretty reasonable, pretty doable here against the Bengals. I think the Bengals this season project defensively to not be that great. Coming into the season, they were not projected to have a great defense. So this should set up as a pretty good spot for Travis Etienne to continue to play well, to continue to get a big workload. And Etienne has historically been a fairly efficient runner. Like in his rookie season, he averaged over 5 yards per carry. His last 2 seasons, his efficiency has gone down a little bit. But early on in the season, when these guys have fresh legs, that's when I like betting on them the most because as the season progresses, you might start to see them slow down a little bit. But right now, a lot of these running backs, they have fresh legs. It's the beginning of the year. They haven't been taking up a bunch of hits, a bunch of huge workloads. ETN obviously had 16 carries last week, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a similar workload here and gets like 15 to 16 carries again. So I do like ETN for more than 54.5 rush yards. Also, don't mind taking more than 13.5 rush attempts. I think that's a decent play as well. But I feel pretty good about ETN's efficiency being good enough here to where he could still go over 54.5 rush yards, even if he only gets like 11 or 12 carries, because he has shown the ability to be able to break off long runs. He broke off some long runs last week against Carolina. Could definitely see him do that again here against the Bengals. So that's the first prop that I like for Sunday. Now the next prop that I like is going to be on Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we're going to take Amon-Ra for more than 7.5 targets. Now, in week 1 last week against the Packers, Amon-Ra did go under this line. He only had 6 targets. But this is a player that has historically been a high targeted receiver in this Lions offense. Averaged over 8 targets per game last season. Was heavily involved as the clear-cut wide receiver 1 for the Lions. And I think this is a good spot for the Lions offense to bounce back and to do better. Last week, the Lions really struggled. They only scored, I think, 10 points. Jared Goff was not great last week, only threw for 100 or 225 yards. He did throw 39 pass attempts, which that was a little concerning to see 39 pass attempts for Goff and only 6 targets for Amon-Ra. Obviously, that's a very low target share. But man, if you normally get 39 pass attempts for Jared Goff, you would expect Amon-Ra to have at least 10 targets in those type of scenarios. But that just didn't happen last week. But I think we could definitely see this be the week where more of those targets go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra again led this team in target share last season. He's been a top receiver for the Lions ever since he's been on the team pretty much. And going back home to Detroit, I think this is a good spot for the Lions offense to bounce back because the Lions offense has historically been better at home. Jared Goff has historically played a lot better at home. If you look at Goff's splits since he got to Detroit, his splits on the road and at home, it's a significant difference. He's significantly better at home in the Dome in Detroit than he is on the road. Obviously, playing on the road in Green Bay is a tough road environment last week. This should be a better spot for the Lions going home, playing the Bears here. I think this matchup for Amon-Ra is pretty good as well. The Bears are without their slot corner right now, Kyler Gordon. He's already been ruled out for this game. So without Kyler Gordon, I think this matchup gets even better for Amon-Ra, who does run a lot of his routes from the slot. I think a large majority of his routes he'll run from the slot. So definitely, give me a bounce back Amon-Ra game here. I like him for more than 7.5 targets. And I mean, as you can see, his receptions prop is set at 6. If he gets 6 receptions or more, I think he's got a pretty good chance at also getting 8 targets or more. So, yeah, that's the second play I like for Sunday. And then our third and final prop is going to be on Dak Prescott. And we're going to take Dak Prescott for more than 17 fantasy score. So, Dak Prescott, wasn't great week 1 against the Eagles. You look, he only had, 7.82 fantasy points. But it really wasn't his fault. Dak didn't even play that bad of a game. He just had, CeeDee Lamb had a lot of drop passes in week 1. And then, the Cowboys scored 20 points in that game against the Eagles, and all their points, all their offensive touchdowns came through Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams had 2 rushing touchdowns. You can't expect that to happen every week. A lot of times the offensive production is going to flow through the quarterback. Coming into this season, the Cowboys were not expected to have much of a running game. I know Javonte looked pretty good in week 1, but this is a matchup where they should definitely be able to do damage through the air. The Giants, the strength of their defense is definitely their defensive line, and the secondary is where they're weaker. I think the Cowboys in this game are most likely going to have success by throwing the ball. And similar to Jared Goff, Dak Prescott has also had really good splits at home. You look at his splits at home, in Dallas, in the Dome, he's averaged for his career he's averaged almost 22 fantasy points per game at home in his career. On the road, he's only averaged 16.9 fantasy points per game. So he's averaged almost 5 fantasy points more per game at home than on the road. And it makes sense because, quarterbacks who play in domes, you think guys like Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Drew Brees when he was on the Saints. Drew Brees was a killer at home in the Superdome. He was so good at home. His splits were a little bit worse on the road. These are a lot of these guys that play in domes. They do a lot better in those type of environments because obviously when you're in a dome, you don't have to worry about weather. You don't have to worry about potentially cold temperatures. If you're a quarterback, you don't want your hands being cold because it's obviously hard to throw the ball when your hands are colder. It's just not as comfortable. A lot of these guys do a lot better at home. These quarterbacks that are used to playing in domes. That's the case for Dak Prescott. He's had significantly better splits at home throughout his career, and I think this is a good bounce back spot for him facing a Giants team that does struggle in their secondary. Their pass defense is definitely expected to be a lot worse than their run defense. I think the Giants are actually going to have a pretty good run defense this year because they have such a good defensive line. They got a lot of studs on their defensive line. I think in week 1 they did struggle in week 1. I want to say they did give up I want to say Washington did have a lot of success running on the Giants in week 1. Let me see. I could actually look at that real quick, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. So week 1, Washington had, let's see. Yeah, they gave up 20 carries for 133 yards and a touchdown. So 6.7 yards per carry. Like Washington did run all over Washington did run all over the Giants in week 1. But I don't know if that's going to happen here in this game. A Cowboys offense that really their running game is not their strength. It's their passing game. And Dak's arm is the strength of this offense. Give me a bounce back game for Dak here at home against the Giants. I like him for more than 17 fantasy score. And if you look at his prop lines for Sunday, like his pass yards prop is set at 245.5. So he's projected to get you about 10. He's projected to get about 10 fantasy points from pass yards. Then you got to factor in rush yards. Dak doesn't run a ton, but he is a little mobile. I mean, he did have like 30 rush yards in a game against Atlanta last season. Like he can run. If he gets you some rush yards, that's just an added bonus. And then you have to factor in touchdowns. And Dak is favored. He's a goblin, so he's favored for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If Dak throws 2 touchdowns, that's going to be an additional 8 fantasy points. So like if he gets 10 points from yards and then 8 points from touchdowns, I mean, that's 18 fantasy score. That puts him over this line. Sure, there's a chance he could throw a pick. If he throws a pick, he would lose a point, but that's one of those things, interceptions, that's something that's hard to project. But touchdowns, yards, those are easier to project, and this does feel like a pretty good spot for Dallas's offense to be able to do damage through the air, for Dak to get some touchdowns here after, last week, the touchdowns all went to Javonte Williams. We can't expect that to happen every week. So that's what I like, guys, is our 3 plays. For Sunday, we're taking Travis Etienne for more than 54.5 rush yards. We're taking Amon-Ra St. Brown for more than 7.5 targets. And we're taking Dak Prescott for more than 17 fantasy score. I've got more plays for this Sunday slate already posted on Patreon. So if you guys do want more Prizepicks plays from me, be sure to go check out the Patreon linked down below in the description. Get access to all my Prizepicks plays. I'll occasionally post plays for other sites as well, like Underdog, Sleeper, Better. But usually it's going to be mainly focused around Prizepicks. And then we also have a Discord chat you can join if you are a Patreon member. You can get in our Discord chat. You can chat with me. You can chat with other members of the community. So if you are interested in that, guys, check it out. Linked down below in the description. But that's what I got for Sunday. Let's win some money on this week 2 slate, and I'll see you guys in the next video.